Hello everybody, John here at the Midnight Paint and Body channel. On this video, we're finally going to get started on the actual bodywork on the 74 Hornet Levi's edition. So if you're new to the channel or new to this project, this is a 1974 AMC Hornet with the Levi's edition interior, what's left of it, but it will be redone at some point. As you can see, super cool car. Now, in the last few videos, I have done all the metal work, new quarter panels, a bunch of rust repair in the doors, fenders, so on. In the last video, I got a coat of epoxy primer on everything, the body panels and the body itself. And I've just kind of mocked up the doors and fenders on the car so we can actually start bodyworking this thing. So, the epoxy primer, as I said in the last one, is very deceiving. You know, you stand back and look at this thing, it's like, wow, that car is ready to paint, it looks great. But there's a ton of bodywork to do on this thing. It's all fairly rough. I mean, it's an old car. The panels were, have been repaired on and off how many times over the years. This was a used quarter panel we put on, which turned out to be not very good. That was a new quarter panel we put on, but it was also not very good because it was a new old stock from the 70s. And it was beat from being kicking around over this last 40, 50, whatever years. So, excuse me. My first plan of attack, now I mentioned in the last video, I didn't have rebuild kits for the hinges yet when I put the quarter panels on, so I didn't have the doors mounted properly. Something I also said in the last video, I know better, but I went ahead and welded them on. But I will show you here. So this quarter panel, this was a used quarter panel. Now you see if I have everything lined up, I get my door sitting just right. Not sure how well that shows up in the camera, but I've got, at the worst part, about 1/4 inch of quarter panel sticking out. Actually, as I say that door is a little bit flattened in there. So I'll probably take some of it out there, but I think what I'm going to have to be doing here, we're just going to put a little slit down here, and we're going to tap that quarter panel in until we get that line, that gap correct, and then we'll weld it back up. So that's pretty straightforward, but I think we'll start, let's just tap out the edge of that door a little first and see. Where's my favorite body hammer? One of the funny things in this trade, I'm sure every body man has a favorite hammer. Yeah, that door actually is lit in a little there. Obviously, you can't go hammering that edge way out, or you can end up with a dive on the end of the door. So if we get that just nice and flat, I bet you that's going to be a heck of a lot better right there. Well now, do I even still need to cut that quarter panel? Yeah, I think we're gonna, man, it's pretty minor. That actually took care of a lot of it. So you see when we're good there, we are still a quarters out just a little too much. Now I could move the door out Man, now I'm second guessing this. Do I even need to? I might not even have to cut that. You know, we do need to fine tune that a little bit. Okay, let's get the zip cut out. Put a little relief in there. Little high spot there. There we are, so that will do. So I will finish welding that up, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So here's our little repair welded up, guys. So as you can see, hopefully you can see, our gap is really nice now. So I mean, not a big deal. That took me about an hour, but it's just one of those things where I shouldn't have had to do it, but yeah, but I did. That's why I always stress the importance of hanging your panels before welding anything. In this case, I just didn't have rebuild kits for the hinges, so the doors weren't fitting properly. But anyway, minor little thing. So next, well, it's pretty much lunchtime. I got started late today. Probably when I get back from lunch, I think we're going to be about ready to start hitting this thing with some body filler. Well, I am back. My day's kind of getting away from me here. And, hang on. Oh, come on in, Dewey. Yeah? I just had my buddy meowing at the door, so I had to go let him in. So if you are doing your filler over top of epoxy, guys, always read the can, the TDS, make sure you know its limitations. Personally, if it sits overnight, I sand it before putting body filler on. If you do it the same day, you do your filler right over the epoxy while it's still open. For me, like, I know a lot of them say 7 days. I still prefer just to give it a sand. Okay, what do you want? Come here. That's Louie. So again, read the directions. I usually will just take a piece of 100 grit and just sand the top. That's all I'm doing, and that's ready for body filler. That also shows you just how damn rough these panels are. When they look really good in the primer, you're drooling on the panel. He drools when he's happy. Okay, so I'm going to continue sanding this a little bit. Get it ready for some filler. Now, like I said before, I'm probably going to be putting a coat of filler over just about this entire thing. The fender, well, the top, I'll probably stop around here, but this has all been hammered out and repaired before, so there's quite a bit to do. I need to find something to wipe the cat drool off my fender. Dork. And of course, if you got greasy fingers, you don't want to put your greasy fingerprints on this stuff. I mean, I'm probably okay. I will dried out body man hands from all the chemicals, but still, I wear the gloves anyway. So I'm going to continue with this. I'll bring you back when I'm ready for some filler. Come here. Whoa, jeez. Okay. I'll be back. Okay, I got rid of my cat. He's still in here somewhere. So yeah, like I was saying, guys, this is the part they don't show you. Say on the TV shows where they build these beautiful $1 million street rods, and you know, they do all that incredibly beautiful metal work. And don't get me wrong, those guys are crazy talented. But the part they don't show you is when it goes into the body shop and all that metal work is coated front to back with a layer of body filler, and then from there it's all smoothed out. You know, if you do your metal right, you're just leveling the surface. You're not so much filling with the filler, if that makes sense, when you get to this point. You know, there is stuff, you know, you look at this panel where this has been hammered and dollied. I mean, yes, I am going to be filling some, but it's not like filling a big caved in dent, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just going to blow this off. I'm going to go mix up some filler. And yeah, we're just going to give this a bit of a coat. I've just sanded most of this fender and this whole door. Now this door is actually, the upper part is all good, but the lower part, I've done quite a bit of hammer and dolly work on it, as well as the patches. So I probably will, though, just come right up to this body line with my filler. And that way we're just going to have all nice uniform all the way through. And then we'll move on to the next panel. Now, I don't like to coat too much at once, because I like to coat, say, I'll coat this stuff, and then I'll block most of it out. You don't, or I don't like to leave it too long. I like to sand the bulk of it off while it's fresh. You know, you don't want to be putting your filler on and sanding it off tomorrow. It just gets a lot harder to sand. So, I'm going to go mix some up, and we'll slap her on here. So stuff like these gaps, these panels are all coming back off, so yes, that makes a big mess, just filling right over the gap like that. If these panels were not coming back off the car, yeah, don't do that, because that stuff would be in there forever. But it's going to be easy to clean it all up once I get these back off, so I'm not terribly worried about it. Everybody has their own preferences in body filler. The one I use is the Evercoat Z-Grip. It is, well, it's about half the price of the expensive stuff. It's not as cheap as the cheap stuff, but it's a lot more affordable than the expensive stuff. And personally, I just really like it. So. Oh, and this stuff is kicking over already. And that's the other thing with a big batch filler like this. I tried to go really light on the hardener. But she's pretty humid today, so. Oh, come on. Yeah. That's not when you want the customer walking in to see that. But as you'll see, most of that's going to get taken off, so. She's kicking over. I'll bring you back when I'm ready to sand. So now that kind of gives you an idea of what's involved in making these cars straight. So I usually will use a machine, the air, like a air board. So that's just like a reciprocating file board. And the 8-inch orbital, so that's an 8-inch mud buster. So I'll knock the bulk off with them, and then I'll move to hand sanding with different blocks, different shapes, or we'll come in here with a rounder block to get these edges. And then when I get these panels close, then I can take them back off. I can take, I'll be able to take this door off and put it on a stand and fine tune everything, but from that point I'll know where my edges are and where I want to keep them. And I can also, I have in the past, done them this way. And then I take the door off and realize I've got a little bit of buildup of body filler on the edge. So if I see that and I'm not happy with it, I'll take it right down and kind of build it up with a bit of weld or something, so we've got metal on the edge, not body filler. But typically, by getting the gaps correct to start with and then just fine tuning them with the filler like this, you're really not having any buildup on the edges. So, and this is, how long have I got total on this thing today? Maybe 4 hours I've worked on this car today, and that was with a bit of welding and starting this bodywork. So I'm going to continue this on to the other panels, and like I say, we'll get these panels off. And the thing is too, that this another thing is all the costs in this trade. Now this filler I use is kind of middle of the road. It is, my cost on it is around 80 bucks a gallon. Premium fillers are 200 plus for a gallon. You can buy $30 body filler, but trust me, it's crap. It's terrible to sand. This stuff is middle of the road. I like it. It's not overly expensive. But this is probably 2/3 of a gallon of filler already. And while that's going to sound like an awful lot, this still needs a bunch more sanding. Most of it is on the floor. So, just to give you an idea. Anyway, yeah. Getting close to the end of the day. It's Friday, so I'm gonna call it here for today, but I'll bring you guys back as we move along a little bit on this, and I'll show you the kind of things we run into with bodywork. So here's a little check-in for you guys. It's actually Monday, almost halfway through the day already. So, been working away at the bodywork. I've got the quarter panel mostly coated. I've got a skim up here, finish up here a little bit. Now this is just roughed out. A lot more of this will be coming off. But like I was saying, guys, this is the part you don't see about what we do on these cars. Now I know you might be looking at that saying, well, why didn't you just fix the quarter panel that was on it? Now the quarter panel that was on it was destroyed. It was super rusty. It had body filler in it from probably the 80s. That was, I'm not even exaggerating, it was like 1.5 inches thick in places. It was crazy. Now, yes, you're saying, well, you've just coated it completely in filler again. Well, now the difference with this, so this is a skim. This is literally like just skimming the panel. There's no build. Now you'll notice, okay, so we're a little bit low here, so that might still sand out, but that might take a little bit more filler. Most of this is probably, I don't know, I mean, honestly, it's probably the thickness of a credit card on most of this, but it'll get, you know, a little bit thicker here and there where it's filling in some little waves, some small dents that were in this panel. So, and this panel was, you know, it was pretty beat. This is the used one. But this is just to give you guys an idea what really goes on with these things. Now, like I said, a lot more of this is going to be coming off. I'm going to be adding a little bit more in places. But at the end of the day, you know, this is not abusing body filler. That 1.5 inches thick, that is abusing body filler. This is all new metal. If you were just smashing body filler into those rust holes, that's not the right way to do it. I know you're going to sit here, you know, there's always going to be that guy that says, well, you're putting filler on anyway. Well, you can't just fill rust holes with filler. I mean, you can, you're fixing up a piece of crap for yourself. But, you know, at the end of this day, what I'm going for on this car is show car straight. That's what I want out of this car. So, that's why I'm going to all this extra work. Now, again, body fillers, I mean, there are much better fillers than what I use. The one I use is the, I guess it's kind of the middle of the road because it's a little more affordable and it works good. I like it. There probably are, you know, the high-end ultra fillers that are definitely going to sand easier, shape easier than this does. But at the end of the day, I don't mind this stuff. So, anyway, that was just a little check-in. I've got a little bit more to do on this quarter, but then what we'll do is get this door off. Now, obviously that's not our door gap, but once this is all done and blocked out, that's how we want our door gap to be, is perfect and flat like that, but it's not going to be that, you know, tiny slit, obviously. So, but at this point, we've kind of got our gap, so I can pull this door off, put it on a stand, finish the body work on it, and finish up the edges all nice. I mean, this, you know, I've been smashing filler right into the gaps, so it's going to be wrapped around the back edges of the doors and in the door jambs, and I'm going to have to clean all that out. So anyway, little check-in, little explanation. Again, just the way I do things, guys, but I mean, I know from experience that this is what happens on these old cars. They typically do get completely coated in filler. And you know that one guy at the car show that says, my car was completely restored with no Bondo, it's all metal. Yeah, the shop has just told him what he wants to hear to get rid of him. Okay, go away, let us work. Anyway, guys, I'll be back. I'm ready to pull this door off of here. Start cleaning up our edges. Put this door on a stand, kind of give it a final sanding. bad. So here's what I was saying about doing the filler the way I've been doing it and kind of getting it right into the, squishing it right in there like that. Now it's easy enough to clean up, and I probably will need to smooth that off a little bit anyway. And the same down here. I do actually have a bit of body work to do in the door jamb where we welded in a bunch of pieces. So I'll get this door off of here. We'll have a look at it on stand. Okay. I'm not sure if I recorded that last part, but just in case the camera wasn't on when I thought it was on, all I have done now, I have obviously taken the door off and I've blocked it out with 80 grit. So everything up to this point was 40 grit. Now I have blocked it out with 80 grit, and we have got a really nice straight panel. So that is ready for primer. First coat of primer. Something like this car will probably get primed twice. I mean, I guess you can't see that magnet sticks, but you know, the magnet sticks anywhere you put it on the panel. This coat of filler is, like I said, it's just a skim. You know, it's basically as thin as I could put it on with a spreader. You can see the discolored parts. Now I did recoat this, but the dark is the second coat, the light is the first coat. So all my second coat did was fill in these small imperfections. So you can see all of that. And yeah, not much more to tell you about that. But I don't know how to show you what actually sticks. But that's all there is to it. Now, this takes time and practice and, you know, experience before you can really get panels nice and straight. Everybody does it a little different. I know lots of guys will go right to putty and icing and all those other products. I personally don't think it's necessary. I mean, I use it sometimes, but on something like this, my bodywork is straight. I will prime this heavy, we'll block it out, get it really straight, and then if it needs a second priming, we'll do that as well. You can see the edges. You know, I don't have a big thick build-up of filler around any of the edges. I mean, obviously you don't want a big thick panel on your edge, because, you know, that won't work. But yeah, there's one panel done. So I'm going to go back to the car and just keep sanding, blocking, sanding, much sanding. Yeah, quarter panel is close. I just need to kind of finish block all of this. My edges I need to clean up. I do, like I said, need to do a little body work in this door jamb, so I'm gonna get that done. But yeah, I'll just carry on and I'll bring you guys back for something more interesting. So I finished our quarter panel off with 80 grit. So yeah, it's basically all sanded. Our rocker is all done. Now this is ready for a coat of primer. Typically I wouldn't prime the car until I've got the whole thing done, but I just figured for the sake of this video, let's get a coat of primer, or a few coats of primer, on this quarter panel and rocker, and the door and fender, which are in the booth. So we'll head in there in a minute. So yeah, let's make a little high build on this thing. So depending on what products you're using, now the high build that I use, it is a DTM, it's a direct to metal. I always epoxy first. Because this already has a coat of epoxy, there's only little bits of bare metal. I'm okay with just using it as is. Put my mask. go mix up a little more primer. We'll let it sit for 20 minutes. We'll hit it again, probably a third coat. And then I'll bring you guys back a little later. So here's a little look at our parts. So see, this area was all body worked on the fender, but you can see everything blends in nicely. You don't even see the transition filler to the metal. I did a bunch of repairs on this front end around these lines. And of course this door was pretty much completely skimmed with filler. Let's go and have a look at the car. I'm gonna get started on the body work on the passenger side here this afternoon. Actually, the other thing, I don't know if this will probably even show up in the camera. You guys see across this hood? You can see right there is the outline of the hood bracing. So you can see those triangle braces. And you can see those, all of them in this hood. So unfortunately, I think somebody has sandblasted this hood. This is how it came to me. And it is warped bad, like really bad. So, because it is what it is, if it was a more common car, you know, if it was a Mustang, I'd say we need to get another hood. But I'm afraid I'm going to be stuck fixing this thing. Really the only option for this is body filler, but oh boy, that's a lot of filler to have to put in a hood. Anyway, we'll get to that another time. Actually, let's just have a look here. I would imagine that's showing up now. So this is all low, like really low. God, I might have to look for a hood for this car. Oil canned. Anyway, the hood's bad. We'll see what we can do. Here's our quarter panel. So that's yeah, there's 3 coats of a good high build primer on there. And quite honestly, this is probably going to be enough when you look at it. It might not even have to be reprimed. It's setting up pretty good. So what I want to do is actually just whip these panels back on here. I don't know if they're ones in the booth to be. They might be set up enough to handle. But yeah, I'd like to get these panels just kind of set back in place just so we can have a look at the gaps and see how it looks. But yeah, once I do that, I'll bring you guys back so you can see it too. So there she is, just loosely assembled, just kind of thrown on with a few bolts. I got a little rammy. I dinged up the door in a couple places just because the primer is super fresh. I should have waited till tomorrow, but whatever. It still needs to be all blocked out and finished up. You're always going to find a few little imperfections in your primer. Little pinholes. There's always going to be stuff like that. But now you can really see that stuff. You can fix that stuff no problem. But this side is ready to block. So there you are. So at the end of the day, guys, this, you know, body filler isn't that scary. The reason you always hear people say, you know, oh, I don't want Bondo in my car, or oh, that thing's full of Bondo. Because usually when you see body filler, it's because it was used wrong. You know, guys actually use it, well, like it was on this car, to fill massive dents. Or you see guys just cramming rust holes full of it, and then of course it cracks and it falls out. And that's, in my opinion, that's where it gets its bad name from. I mean, it is part of what we do. All of these cars have body filler. It is, I mean, it's an industry standard. It's used in restoration, it's used in collision, it's used in pretty much every aspect of doing bodywork. So, but now that kind of gives you an idea. I'm gonna say the right way to use it. I don't like saying stuff like that because, like I always say, guys, I'm just one dude that does body work. My way isn't necessarily the right way. It's definitely not the only way. I just kind of share the way I do things and what works for me. So take it for what it is. But as always, thank you for checking out my videos. I'm going to end this one here because you don't need to see me bodywork the other side. You just saw this side. But you will see this car again soon on the Midnight Paint and Body channel. And I hope you guys will subscribe and come back for the next one. We'll see you then.